Hello everyone, happy new year. It's the first day of the year 2022 and I'm very excited and happy and feel humbled to be alive this day, the first day of 2022. I believe it's the same with you. It's me, Teacher Lily, and in this channel I teach you simple English, both spoken and written English. I've been taking you through what is tested in paper 1 English, paper 2 English, and today I'm dealing with paper 3 English. So candidates, sit down with your notebook and your pen, watch and write notes. The good thing with today's paper, it is also helpful to every student, be it in primary, be it in secondary, or whatever thing you call it in your country, because essays and compositions are written by all students. So paper 3 English comprises of 3 questions and they are essay questions. So it means a student is supposed to write and write and write. So question 1 is a composition, an essay, where a candidate is expected to write a composition or a story that he has created in his or her mind. That is what I'm going to take you through today. Question 1B, you're given a statement and you're supposed to argue about that statement. You either support it or you don't support it. Oppose or propose. I encourage students to do question 1A because question 1A, you're the one who is coming up with a story and the examiner has the guidelines to what to mark and not the points. So you are the person to win the mind of the reader and earn the maximum number of points. You can get a 20, you can get a 19, depending with how you write your story. Question 2, the examiner already has a marking scheme and has the specific points that you should write. So as a candidate, if you happen not to write that point, despite the volume of your writing, you might not get every mark. So if you know that you have not understood the question 1B, run to question 1A, where you can come up with a story. That does not mean that any story can earn you any mark. No, it also has guidelines that you should follow to get the maximum points in that story. And that is what I'm going to teach you today. Every story has 5 parts, and those are the 5 parts that we shall deal with today. Every story has a conflict. The stories you have watched, the stories you have read, and the stories you have told, they have a conflict that makes the story to last to the end. So that conflict should be shown well even as you're writing your story. There is a curve that we follow when you're writing a composition or an essay. So welcome and watch this and follow, and you will notice if you do a lot of practice, when you go back to school, the marks in your composition will rise. The 5 parts that you should have in a composition. I have already written them down, so we're just going through them to make you understand what is expected of you in your story. Number 1 is exposition. That is paragraph 1. As you're writing your story, the reader expects to see where the story is in. Where is your story? Is it in a school? Is it in town? Is it in a forest? Is it underwater? Where is your story happening? You expose us to that. That is the beginning of a story. It includes the setting. The setting is what I have said. Where is your story? It should also show us the characters involved in your story. Who are these characters? You can mention several in the first paragraph depending with what story you're giving, and you're not highlighting them. They're included in your story. We are seated by the poolside. John, Jane, and I. So already you have told us that you are on a poolside. The characters, John, Jane, and I. Then a conflict. I have said every story should have a conflict. What is the conflict of your story? As we are sipping our soft drinks, we hear a loud bang. There goes the conflict. The reader will tell that there is a problem. A loud bang means there is something that has happened. Maybe a bang of a door or windows, but there is a loud bang. So in that first paragraph, you're introducing us to the setting, the character, and the conflict. Then we go to number 2, the rising action. Now you have introduced us to the conflict. So the conflict, the characters must now face this conflict, either run from it or fight it. In either way, the conflict becomes much. That is why we are saying the events before the climax, and the characters attempt to solve the problem, but they fail. You have heard a loud bang. So if you hear a loud bang from the west, what will happen? Automatically, you'll find yourself running to the east to save your life. Okay? People now will start running in all directions, trying to run away from what they have heard. They don't know what it is, but as it sounds, it's not something good. So everybody is running for his life. So as you're running away, maybe one of you falls in the pool and he does not know how to swim. So do you stop, or you just run and leave him in water? So as you're telling us this story, you're building up the tension in the conflict. The characters that are affected in this conflict, they all run to safety, and there is one who has fallen in the pool. We don't know whether he will be saved or not. So the examiner will like to continue reading and seeing, was this person who fell in the pool saved at last, or he drowned? Loud bang was just a cat running away through the window. So that makes the reader enjoy this story and wants to see, is the person saved, and what is the cause of this loud bang? So we go to the climax. The climax means the turning point, the point of greatest suspense or action. The climax is when the conflict now blows out of proportion. People don't know what to do, and the conflict has become so much that the characters now must change the turn of this conflict, the climax. As John is asking for help in the pool, everybody is running for their lives. Then a person comes in and dives in the pool to try and save who? John. The climax. John is, somebody is trying to save John from the pool. As he tries to pull him out, his leg got stuck. John is in the pool, the savior is in the pool, people are still running away. Then the falling action comes in. The characters begin to solve the conflict. People who know how to dive came to save these two. And now the attention from the bang was no longer the issue, but to save these people who are in the pool. As they ran to come and save the two, they dive in the water and they are able to pull John and the first savior. They are laid beside the pool and the first aid is being conducted on them. Characters begin to solve the what? The conflict. Then as you're conversing, you learn that the loud bang was a door that was affected by the strong wind. They thought it was a bomb. They were running away. The resolution, the end of the story, where the conflict or the problems are solved. So what happens? The door is fixed and they learn that where they hook the door, the hook had broken. That is why the door banged. And our friends are saved from water. From that day, you learned to be careful with your doors and your windows. So you have taken us through the what? The 5 stages of a composition, a story. So if you follow these 5 stages in every composition you write, you're guaranteed of getting very good points. You can use a suspense in your story. You can begin a story and tell us about how John was saved and he was in the pool and the first savior was not able to save him. There came other specialists who know how to dive, only to realize in the morning that you're being woken up by your parent. You're late for school. So it was a dream. As people are feeling pity on John, we called him John, yes. As people are feeling pity on John, you are there, you've been woken up. It was a dream. Oh my, it was just a dream. So you can twist the story, you can use flashbacks, you can use foreshadows in your story. Then use vocabularies. Students, what I have explained, I have now put it in a curve. This is the curve I was telling you about. Have it somewhere, write it in your notebook, and do as many compositions as you can before you sit for your exam. Follow what we have learned today, and you will notice that your marks will start rising. Now, this is the curve. Exposition, we said, is the part 1 where you expose us to the setting, to the character, and to the conflict. We have the rising action. The conflict affects the characters, and we learn how these characters try to solve the conflict but they fail. The climax is number 3, the climax. At climax, the conflict is no longer manageable. It's out of hand, and the characters must now look for a solution. Falling action, we call this a turning point, right? Now we have falling action, where a solution must be found to solve the conflict amongst the characters. Then finally, the end of the story is called a resolution. This should happen in the last paragraph. The resolution, the conflict is settled, and now the story comes to an end. So if you follow that, student, be sure that you will perform well in composition writing. Continue to equip yourself with knowledge about English. Read articles, read newspapers, read those textbooks that you have, and get content. Learn phrasal verbs. Bye until the next time, when I'll be expanding more on question 2 in paper 3, where we should use a set book. Thank you. From Teacher Lily, it's bye-bye. See you in question 2, paper 3.